We are just over halfway through the year, and I am just under halfway to my reading goal for 2017. Every year since we started the WordNerds and I graduated college and had time to read again, I have increased my reading goal by a little bit every year, and I think I have finally figured out where my limit is because I am really struggling to keep up with my 100 books in 2017 goal. But I have never failed at a Goodreads challenge, and I refuse to let this year be the year, so I am going to work hard to catch up. I am at 48 books right now, so I figured it was a good time to check in about the books I've read, the books I've loved, the books that I'm looking forward to in the second half of the year. So I've picked out my favorite books so far this year from a few different categories, the first of which is my favorite graphic novel, which is actually the only graphic novel slash comic that I've read, but I loved it so much that I wanted to talk about it. It is actually a webcomic that is still in progress, so you can go read it online for free right now, or you can actually buy the first 2 volumes if you want to support the artist, which is always an awesome idea. It is called Beauty and the Beast, and it is by Megan Kearney. I hope I am pronouncing her name right. I will put a link to that down in the description because it really is such a great take on the fairy tale. Beauty and the Beast is my favorite fairy tale, so I'm always on the lookout for new interpretations of it, and I think this is a really great one that stays very true to the original spirit and feeling of Beauty and the Beast. It very much gives me the feeling that books like Beauty by Robin McKinley gave me, while still being very fresh and having some cool twists and takes on the tale. My favorite fantasy book so far this year was Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I felt very average about Six of Crows. I started to really enjoy the characters by the second half. You can hear some of my thoughts in the book club we did a couple months ago. But Crooked Kingdom really blew me away by how much I loved it compared to the first book, which a lot of times second books I like less than first books. So props to Leigh Bardugo for making me love the sequel even more than the original. I've been trying to read more nonfiction this year, and I've been doing that mostly by listening to audiobooks on my drive to and from the day job, and so I have a favorite nonfiction book this year, which I normally don't because I don't read any of it. But that book is Terrible Typhoid Mary by Susan Campbell Bartoletti, I think. I hope I got her name right. It's Susan something Bartoletti, I think it's Campbell. We have all heard of Typhoid Mary, I think, but I for one was not familiar with the details of her story, so it was really interesting to learn about the things that were allowed to be done to her and the isolation she was kept in just because they thought she was spreading disease, and the way she was treated different from other carriers because she was a woman and she was an Irish woman and a cook. So definitely a very interesting quick read. My favorite contemporary book, which I have read a lot of those this year, has been We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. I loved Nina's Everything Leads to You, which we read for a book club last year, so I knew that I had to read her new book this year, and it did not disappoint. It was very different in that it wasn't focused on romance, but it was such an incredible book about grief and family and friendship and home, and just it's so good. You should definitely read it. My favorite debut novel so far this year has been Winter Song by S.J. Jones, also called JJ. Of course, it was my favorite debut after I realized that there was a second book because, slight spoiler warning, the ending is very disappointing when you think that it's a standalone novel. But now that I know that it's not a standalone and my questions will hopefully be answered in a second book and hopefully my characters will get a happy ending, I can love it again because I did rip through this book so fast. I love underground, darker fantasy romances, and I love Jim Henson's The Labyrinth, so this book was definitely right up my alley. Lastly, the book this year that has given me all the feels was History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. If you have read this book, then you know that it is a bit of an emotional roller coaster at times. We will be doing it for a book club in a couple months, so if you haven't read it, definitely read it because it's a wonderful book. Adam is such an incredible writer and he captures human emotion so well. It will make you cry. Speaking of Adam Silvera, one of the books that I am really looking forward to in this second half of 2017 is his next novel, which I got an ARC of, and it's They Both Die at the End. I got this in a Goodreads giveaway and I am super excited to get to read it. It comes out in September, so it's not too far away for everyone else, and I definitely expect this one to make me cry as well, so it should be good. I'm also really excited for The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I hope I pronounced that right. It comes out in November. I love fantasy novels that are based in European-based lands. I've definitely written my fair share of them, but I am really excited about the diverse fantasy settings that we are starting to see in YA fantasy, and this book in particular, it takes place in 18th century Cairo, and it has a con artist and magic and a main character that's discovering new parts of her world. It's just all the things that I love, so I'm super excited. I hope I love it. I can't wait to read it. And that is my halfway through 2017 reading check-in. Let me know what books you have loved so far this year and what you are looking forward to in the second half of the year, because I did realize while making this that I don't have a ton of books on my TBR that are coming out later this year. It's a lot of books that have come out in the last couple months that I just haven't gotten to yet, so I want to know about all the books that are coming out this year that you are excited about and that sound really great. And don't forget to join us this Sunday at 7:30 Eastern Time. We will be having a write-in so you can get all of those Camp Nano words in, or editing in, or homework if that's what you need to get done. Whatever you are working on, please come join us this Sunday to get some work done.